Rupert, I'm going to start with you. What do you think we should be looking to expect from this interview tonight? I mean, Prince Harry has got a very good relationship with Tom Bradby. They're sort of good friends. They've been through quite a lot together. Do you think he's going to get a softer ride from Tom Bradby because they're friends?
Well, that presumably is why they agreed in the first place to be for allowing him to be interviewed by Tom, because obviously they do have this history. And we remember he was the person who did the interview in Africa when Meghan said, that the interview that actually hinted at the problems that were there within the royal family. So it's easy to see why Tom Bradby has got the interview, and Anderson Cooper as well. So it's easy. But you'd hope that from Tom Bradby's own journalistic integrity, that he's been able to ask the questions that he wants to ask, that perhaps all of us have been wanting to ask of Harry, and that he doesn't get just a free pass. So that will be the interesting thing, as when it comes afterwards, when we look back at it, is it just a sort of glorified puff on behalf of Harry, or has he been able to ask the questions that he really wants to, and actually looks like a serious interview given a free rein?
And Andre, Prince Harry is going to do an interview with Anderson Cooper, big, CNN news anchor. I mean, what's the expectation in the States about the media that Harry is doing the broadcast media?
I mean, I think from our point of view, this does not look good at all. First of all, we gave Meghan sympathy. I know like a couple years ago we did this interview, but we gave her a little bit of sympathy. But with him, it's just a lot of me, no accountability. This is just like Hollywood. I mean, at this point, from our point of view, we're just looking at this like, for example, he got into a fight with William, and the first thing he did was phone a therapist. But if you remember, Meghan said that they were not allowed or offered any kind of therapeutic services, but Prince Harry went and called a therapist instead of calling his wife. So I don't know. It's just, this is all over the place. It's just no accountability. He's not owning anything about any of his actions.
Yeah. And so that's your view on his thing. What do you think that the appetite is like at the moment, Andre, in the States? Because we've had the Netflix documentary. There was, 6 series, 6 parts of that. We've now got the book. I was speaking to another American royal commentator who was saying that, there is a lot of divided opinion, but there's also a big appetite for this stateside as well. What's your sense of that?
Oh, without a doubt, it's going to be some appetite about it. But again, it goes back to, it's a lot of the entitlement. I think a lot of people on a global perspective, I mean, they'll buy into it. I mean, it's a tell-all. But then again, it's just, okay, well, you did your Oprah interview. Then you have your, Netflix documentary. Okay, what's the point of the book now?
Okay, and Rupert, I mean, in terms of where things go next, I mean, obviously this week, we've had a whole week of this sort of feeding frenzy on this story, and it hasn't exactly gone the way that the publishers had hoped it had gone, with so many things leaking out. It's not like they've been able to control the narrative. I mean, do you think that there is a way for Prince Harry to kind of try and regain the narrative on this? Or do you think that this has sort of been bungled so much that actually this kind of gives the upper hand back to the palace, if you like?
I think the problem is Brown Sussex has got to work out where it's going to go following what they're about, which is they signed the deals to do the dirt, as it were, to put it in a very simplistic analysis, is to tell the story. They've told the story every which way they can. And now we've got to work out where they go from here. And this is the problem. Now, where they go from here, of course, the big moment for the royal family is the coronation. How do Brown Sussex work out what they do with the coronation? Because their whole thing has been built on their association with the royal family. But in many eyes within the royal family and many people here in Britain, they are a toxic brand. And because they have just gone after everyone without ever giving any accountability to themselves. Now, clearly, there are two sides to the coin here. And we're not saying that the royal family hasn't caused some issues. We're not also saying that Harry has got genuine grievances. But at the heart of it, clearly, this unrelenting snipe at every member of the royal family without any comeback, it just feels uncomfortable. And that's the problem for Brand Sussex. They've now got to turn themselves from being basically having a pop at everybody. How do they turn themselves into a brand that is seen as a force for good?
And Rupert, I mean, I remember. I mean, we would cover. You and I were working together quite a lot, covering the funeral of the late Queen, and it was very much, you know, it struck us all watching them coming back, and it was very nice to see them back. And actually, a lot of people was like, "This is great," you know, maybe there could be some kind of reconciliation. Now, it is being reported that after the Jubilee and indeed after the funeral, Harry may have had cold feet about this book, and there's some leaked sources from the publishing house saying that he wanted to kind of roll back on things. Do you think that there is a chance that obviously books are written well ahead of when they come out? Do you think he may have splurged a lot of this in anger, then came back for the Jubilee and, of course, the passing of his grandmother, had second thoughts, but it was too late at that point because, of course, the publishing house, they want their pound of flesh. They've paid a lot of money. They've got to sell books. They've got to make it as juicy as possible.
Well, it doesn't. Not only Netflix, it's also with this publishing house. They signed this multi-million-dollar deal to do this. They've employed a very respected ghostwriter, J.R. Moehringer, who wrote the most brilliant book about Andre Agassi, which was extremely well received. The guy they brought in to do this knows the time of day. So, a lot is at stake here. And this is what is so sad in many ways, in that, the talk was, and the Times released it yesterday, that after the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, he wanted to row back on it, but actually the publishers said no. And this is what his problem is. With Diana and Charles, when they did the deal, they didn't do it for money. They wanted to tell their stories out there. Unfortunately for Harry, he has done the deals. And when these big corporations have decided to sign a deal, you are dancing with the devil. Yeah. And that is the problem for Harry. They said, look, we did this on good faith here that you would tell the story. You cannot back out. So Harry and Meghan had backed themselves into a corner. And even if we're hearing after the funeral, there have been some modifications subsequently. So clearly they are quite happy that this is out there. Although I think with the reception of it, they may not be.
And Andre, final question to you. I mean, we've heard a lot from Harry because of this book, and he's doing all this media. We've just had the Netflix. Do you think there's any more to come? Do you think Meghan may be doing anything more by herself, or do you think this is going to be it for a while now?
Oh, no, this isn't going to be it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she came out with a book herself. I really feel like they're trying to follow after the Obamas in a way. I mean, because Barack had a book, now Michelle has a book. So I think that she's going to definitely come out with, her, bombshell tell-all. This is definitely not going to end. I mean, they have the partnership with Netflix. So I can imagine other stuff is, going to come out over time. But yeah, this is not looking good on both their parts.